All right, good evening. Welcome in Detroit Sports Talk here on this Thursday, the 21st. Wait, 10/21/21. That's pretty cool. That only happens once in your lifetime, guys. Brian Jelinek, there's Pete Finelli, the intern out in Penn State. Rob Diddy's behind the scenes, and we're ready to get things underway. Jelinek, nice salmon shirt. What's up, man?
Hey, I got my golf gear on, Johnny O. I got a tee time this Sunday, man. I am feeling great.
Who's Johnny O? Johnny O. Grodnick?
Johnny O. Golf apparel. It's really comfortable. It's got nice little collars on it. It's a really nice quarter zip. It's perfect for weather like today.
Okay, I'll buy that. Pizza is normal, and like we've said this before, man. When it's Penn State, you're either wearing white or you're wearing blue or gray. You know, so Pete, you got your normal uniform on.
I know. Brian was making fun of me before we came on. He was like, "You got enough Penn State clothes on there? You can't see it now, but the shirt is too."
Well, I'm convinced that you just don't own any other clothing besides Penn State gear at this point.
He's not supposed to. What I want to see, and I was just thinking about this over the weekend, is that there's so many iconic places at State College there. I'd like to see some pictures of you in front of those places. I don't know what they call it. Like they have just like the lion there or wherever that place is at. Like all of a sudden there it is. What's that called? Where it's not over by the stadium, right? It's over by the
No. I was saying like, yeah, you got the lion statue, you got the stadium, you got.
Yeah, I'd like to see you like some selfies. You don't have to get too crazy. But lion, maybe have some people take some pictures of it and say, hey, it's for a job I'm going for, so here it is. I'd like to see some of those.
Go around to all the places on campus just doing that.
No, look, I was just about to bring this up. Thank you, Rob. I forgot.
Oh, there we go.
It's from the last weekend at the Hall of Fame. There's in front of Calvin Johnson's display.
Very nice. What's up with the G-Men hoodie? I thought you were an Eagle guy.
No, see, I've been meaning to correct you on that. Every time you say that, I let you go. I just let you kind of go with it. Okay. I don't like the Eagles. I like the Steelers and the Giants.
Steelers and the Giants.
How are you able to like both those teams? I feel like you're just not allowed to.
I mean, there's no rules against it. No, Giants.
AFC, NFC. I think it works already off the bat for me.
Look. I was born in Jersey, and my dad and his dad have had Giants tickets for the longest time. And then the Steelers are just, for whatever reason, my dad enjoyed watching them growing up. So when he introduced me to football, he was like, all right, we're cheering for this team and this team. I was like, all right, cool. And so for the past, 12 years, I've been like, Giants, Steelers. All right.
That's been very rewarding for you. There's been a lot of Super Bowls and all of that, going with you.
Good. It's been good.
It's nice. Those are nice teams to pick. I wish I would have picked teams like that. I picked the Lions, which speaks for itself. Although, growing up where I grew up in Detroit, everybody, it was the 70s. You either liked, everybody liked the Lions, but you also either liked the Steelers or the Cowboys. And I was a Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett kind of guy, Drew Pearson. And so for 10 years, at least 10 years, I was a big time Cowboy fan, but I swore him off when Jerry Jones bought the team and fired Tom Landry. I said, to hell with him.
They do the Landry shift though, so that's still a thing.
Well, it's even though I said it, but my fandom did erode over the years. Like I don't care about the Cowboys anymore, and they used to be one of my favorite teams back when I was growing up. But we could go and talk about each one of our favorite teams and how they came that way, and maybe we will do that. But we want to tell everybody what we're talking about here, and for that we've got a book with 5 chapters that we're going to get to. And there you can see it down in the lower right corner of the screen. We're going to get to coming up right out of the gate. There it is, man. We've got the Pistons who opened up last night into the NBA without Cade. We've got some Lions talk. They are going out to California to take on their former quarterback. We do have a broadcasting bracket that we're going to get to, as you can see right there. Favorite announcers. Baseball still hot and heavy here. A lot of excitement going on there, and we will make some picks coming up in Chapter 5. So let's just get things underway right now here, and we'll start it out with Chapter 1. How does that sound?
I think starting on 1's always a really solid play, Dennis. You're a very smart man.
Well, let me just ask, Pete, did you watch the Pistons at all, or should we bring you back in Chapter 2?
I'll sit this one out. This one's all you guys.
All right. Was that a no? Like, you're out there at Penn State, like, Were you watching the Pistons opener? Like, all right, Joe, did you watch the Pistons opener?
I was okay. So this is tough. I watched a little bit of it, followed a lot of it on my phone. Girlfriend and I ended up going out to dinner at the last second, and then watched some of it at the bar we were at. Great bar, phenomenal drinks, all that. But when we got home, she had to watch the Real Housewives reunion of Beverly Hills or whatever. So I was unfortunately stuck to my phone following the Pistons game. But I was able to watch probably about 10 minutes total of the game.
Okay, there's some things that you guys don't have two TVs.
There's not a two TV setup right now, and it's a trap. She's like, you can go downstairs and watch the game, but then if I would have been like, yeah, it's a great idea, she would have gotten mad saying like, oh, you don't want to spend any time with me. So I had to take the L, watched a bunch of old women yell at each other for a bit, but I have some good notes about the Pistons. I followed a lot of it on my phone and read a lot about it this morning and last night.
Well, you're honest, you're taking the L here by not watching the game, but you know what? You're honest, and sometimes you do have to do those things. I had seen some pictures of the court before, the new Pistons court, and just sitting out there as they tipped it up and watching it, it was very pleasing. I enjoy, I didn't think it's not something that I was expecting to say, I really like that court, and then would have been drawn to it a couple more times saying, it's very nice, but that's exactly how it went down as I was watching the game. I like the court. It looks good, very clean. And a number of times I kept saying, wow, that's a nice job. However, they did that like last year. And there's been some issues since they've been at the Little Caesars Arena. You remember that it was all red, like that bright red. I remember the first day I walked in there before there was ever a game. And I was just like, wow, man, the red is really jumping out at you. And of course it did jump out because nobody was going to the games. And then they had bright red, and then they changed it to black. But then during the pandemic, I thought they could have gone with some red, white, and blue, which would have looked cool, but they didn't listen to me there. But whoever they listened to here with the court, I liked it. What are some of the other things that you thought?
I thought that when I was looking up all the stat lines this morning and reading about it last night, man, the Pistons did not shoot the ball well. They were 6 for 28 total in the field. I'm not sure what they were from 3-point. Or they were 6 for 28 behind the arc. That's only 21%. So
yeah, they sucked.
Right off the bat, yeah, that's a really tough look to have happen to your team on the first night, to shoot 21% from the field. And honestly, the biggest thing that I looked at was Kelly Olynyk and stuff like that off the bench. The bench did not produce as much as I thought they would. And I'm just not really happy. I think Kelly Olynyk, especially coming off the bench, has to be better. He only had 10 points, was 5 for 10 from the field, and 0 for 4 behind the arc. So, Kelly Olynyk, we brought you in. We're paying you decent money. We need you to play better.
Yeah, I thought this was one of these throwback games where they clearly were, and it was good because it was consistent on both sides. They swallowed the whistles and let them play physical and let them bump and grind a little bit. I like that. I hope that continues throughout the season. And it got to a point where it was a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. And then an opener against Chicago, a team that, is better than you on paper. I thought they were doing all right. It was very reminiscent of last year. I mean, they didn't have Cade Cunningham, so it was mostly the big dogs that they had. And when it came down to it, they needed Jeremy Grant to make a couple more plays, or they needed Sadiq Bey to hit a couple baskets. They dried up there at the end, and it was almost exactly what we talked about last year. Play very competitive, get to the end, and just not have enough in your holster, to stay with a better team. And that's how it went down. And, that's unfortunate because you want to see them, it's just one game. But, you mentioned the shooting woes. Yeah, you got to shoot better than they did from downtown. And then it comes to Killian Hayes, who they drafted in the top 10. What was it, number 7 overall?
6,
was it 6? You have to. You got to be patient with them, but also you're hoping to see something quicker too. I mean, that I think last year, he got hurt and then he came back and you did see some things, but coming out last night and having a goose egg in the scoring column, that's going to stand out when you lose, especially when there's a lot of people that are Piston fans. There's the court right there looking clean and looking nice. You know what? You're going to be patient with them and everything else, but if you're clamoring for fans now to pay attention to the Pistons because, hey, you got the number 1 pick and he wasn't there and everything, it was opening night, people are going to watch. They're going to be like, this is the guy that we drafted in the top 10. I mean, he's a bust. And I'm not saying that, especially with point guards, you got to give them a little time. But you know what? We want more from Killian Hayes. That's for sure.
Well, do you know what we needed last night? Was the number 1 overall pick to be playing and a floor general out on the court. There was points going into the half. The Pistons had a 4-point lead, and I think they got up to as much as a 9-point lead somewhere in the second half. So the Pistons have it a little bit. And again, we talked about it last week or the week before. We're not expecting the Pistons to go out and ball out and be, I don't know, a mid-seed in the playoffs at the end of the year. I'm just expecting the Pistons to be better, and I thought we saw a little bit of that last night. However, we needed to get over the hump, and we needed we needed the number 1 overall pick and Cade Cunningham to be out on the court. And I get why he didn't play, and I don't want to rush Cade by any means whatsoever. But I think with Cade on the floor last night, the Pistons win the game. They only lost by, 4 points, 8 points, 6 points. There we go. My math's bad. But they needed Cade Cunningham.
Maybe they would have won. Like, they needed somebody as a shot maker down the stretch. I mean, hey, here he is, number 1 pick. I mean, I'm not going to argue too much. Hopefully, I picked him to win 30 games, and that's way over the 25.5. I know you went to 35, but as you watch him and you see the rotation a little bit in there, you're like, ooh, maybe maybe we we're a little just too over optimistic with him. But it's a lot different. You take the number 1 player. He is. I mean, he is the number 1 player. He might not be the number 1 player this year, but by year 2 or number 3, of course, he is expected to, and hopefully is going to be the number 1 player. Just like Killian Hayes, when you draft a guy 7th overall, you're expecting him to show a little bit of something. He showed some flashes that he's a very good passer last year. Of course, he's got the size at 6'5", but I mean, you got to score a little bit. You got to be able to do and go get some points somewhere along the line. It was a disappointing game from Killian. Here's right off the jump. How about Sideshow Raj?
Our guy.
Mr. Tuesday. Pistons need to trade for Ben Simmons. That'd put Killian in the trade. He doesn't look like he will work out here. Here's the thing. We talked about that. John, I'm going to let you go ahead. I remember when James Harden, when the Rockets dealt for him, everybody was saying, a deal for James Harden, that guy's a ball hog. You're never going to win anything. Now, ultimately, they didn't win anything, but they got really damn close for doing it. It looked like a great trade when most people were talking about Harden like they're talking about with Simmons. Like, man, I don't want that guy. Are you kidding me? Somebody's going to trade for him. I don't think it should be the Pistons. So I don't think it can fit here with what the Pistons have with Cade Cunningham. It's great that the Pistons got the number 1 pick. And let's just say for a second they would have taken Jalen Green. I don't know what kind of attitude Jalen Green would have had, but his attitude, he would have said he loved it here because he was dogging. But Cade's got a perfect mentality for being here in Detroit. Like everything that he's saying, like you like everything from that standpoint. Bringing in a boo-hoo bad, Ben Simmons here. That's for, desperation. If the Pistons wouldn't have got the number 1 pick, and they would have like fell to 5 or something, and they would have picked Scotty Barnes, and I would be sitting here saying, take a shot, man. Let's gamble. Let's go with Ben Simmons. Maybe he gets his head straight. Maybe he can end up being like a top 5 player in the league or something, even though it doesn't look like that. But right now the Pistons got something going, and I'm not ready to just abort and bring him in. I wouldn't bring him in for, like if he just walked in the door, I wouldn't bring him in. Like, he's got his cell phone in his pocket out in practice, and, they suspended him for 1 game. I mean, 1 day, it was ridiculous. The Ben Simmons saga right now is ridiculous.
Well, I love watching Ben Simmons actively try to get quote unquote fired from his job in Philadelphia. It's truly incredible watching him doing what he's doing to do that. Like, it's impressive to not care at all like that and just not want to be in Philadelphia. But trying to compare him to the whole James Harden situation, I think it's just a little unfair because James Harden is a damn good basketball player and all around really good. Whereas Ben Simmons is solid in the paint, and I like him on one-on-ones and pick and rolls and all that. But behind the arc and shooting from the field, I think Ben Simmons is garbage, and I don't want something like that on my team to begin with. And I don't want to be paying him all the money he's making right now either. So on top of that, like, I just don't want Ben Simmons at all. Like you said, I like the base that the Pistons have working right now. And I think after the year, you can see them spend a little bit more money in free agency and try to attract a middle tier to a top tier superstar to come to Detroit.
Well, he's a great defender. He was all NBA first team defense, talking about Simmons. But yeah, when you can't shoot, and then he's got an issue at the free throw line. Like he wasn't able to make a
Mhm.
free throw in the playoffs. He's got a mental block right there and a bad attitude. Like that's not something that you want to go for. There's going to be a team though that that gets off to a bad start or whatever else, and you just need to gamble. I don't know, like somebody like Portland that just says, you know what, we need to just we need a new direction. We need to freshen this up. Let's just hit a reset button. Let's take a gamble. You're going to get a deal. You don't have to give up everything in the world. That'd be stupid. Whoever does that, like you can wait till that price comes down. So you're going to get them at a pretty good price. You might not have to give up a whole lot. So some team will gamble, but Raj, it's nice to talk about, but I wouldn't do it. Here's Beth talking about the Pistons last night, saying she thought they did okay, a lot better than she expected. I didn't think they would win, and Chicago is really good. I'm only looking for progress or progression, improvement, chemistry this season. Do you think the injury to Motorcade is a concern? Jelinek, you sound more concerned about Cade not being in the lineup yesterday than at least I have said so far.
I am concerned just for the fact that I don't think he played at all in the preseason. I think he missed the last game in the summer league. He has not played competitive basketball in a while now. And I just feel like when teams drag this out saying, oh, we just want to keep him healthy, we don't want to rush him back and all that, I think that is, at the end of the day, a little bit like a code word for, okay, this is a lot worse than we anticipated. How are we going to break it to the people, blah, 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 stuff like that. And I am worried about the number 1 overall draft pick's ankle for sure. I am definitely worried about it.
Well, what we found out about you is that you get scared, like your Michigan State fan. You get scared of the opponents.
Everything.
Like here's coming. Yeah, I'm scared of Indiana. You were scared, and you're nervous, and you're nervous about the start. So you're a nervous Nelly. But what? I think you stated it right. They've been extremely cautious with him, and then he couldn't be out there on the floor for the opener. I mean, if somewhere, like we get it, we didn't want him to play him. And like if he was get out there because we want to see you, but you're also, man, this is the freaking number 1 overall player. Exactly. You're hoping to see him on opening night, so that's got to be in the back of. If it's not in the back of the mind of everybody, you're not human.
Yeah,
it's like that first date, Jelinek. You get with the beautiful girl and everything. Exactly. You guys are all set. You got it set for Friday. And here it is, Friday morning. She sends you a text like, "Can we wait till Monday?" I'm just not feeling good. And you're just like, yeah, of course. Then you're like, oh, your boy's like, what happened? You're like, we're waiting till Monday.
I know,
Wait until Monday. Wait a second. I thought you guys were good to go on Friday. What happened?
Exactly. And the way I'm looking at it, 2 things. When it comes to one, I am very pessimistic. I always like to think the glass is half empty just so I can be rewarded better. It's a really messed up way of thinking when it comes to sports. So that's why I'm always terrified of MSU every week playing people. But on the other side, when it comes to Cade, if he's not playing, which I don't care if he debuts in freaking it's October now. I don't care if he debuts like right around Christmas time. I don't care. If he's not playing, I want to see that man wrapped in bubble wrap on the sideline. I just want him to be healthy. I want him to be in Detroit forever. I don't care. As long as he's healthy. I can wait till Christmas if it means that he will be 110% ready to go and be healthy and play.
Yeah, I just need him out there. This whole thing was put together, and hopefully it's going to be Saturday night. Here's Brian C. That's chat. Oh, Cade will be fine in a week or so. Hayes is a bust. I saw him tweeting that Hayes is a bust last night. He was saying Hayes was a bust last year. You got to give him a little bit more. I'm going to wait, till after the opener, Chapman for a point guard before I start calling him a bust. That's way overboard. I'm sure he's typing about how I wanted to be patient with Sekou right now, which that would be a good comeback for him. But Killian Hayes, you got to take your time here with point guards. Come on.
I want to see Killian Hayes play with Cade Cunningham too. I want to see what he's like on the floor with Cade. So I don't want to call Killian Hayes a bust yet. I like Killian Hayes' passing ability and all that. I like Killian Hayes on the floor. I'm not going to call him a bust yet. I think it's way too early. I just want to see him play with Cade on the floor. So I think that's way too premature to say that he's a bust.
Yeah, like if you're expecting him to be like, Luka Doncic or Trae Young. I mean, I know Tyrese Halliburton has played better, and he was the next point guard off the board. And a lot of people thought that the Pistons should have taken him. So that's fair. Like if you're somebody that's like, I want Halliburton, I don't want this French dude. Like, so, all right. But if you go down and look over the past 10 or 20 years at point guards and you look at their first 2 or even 3 years, like it takes a little bit of time to be able to run a team. Now, you'd like to see, he just doesn't look good shooting. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing. I just watch it. I'm not very like Lonzo Ball. Remember, like when he was first out there shooting, he was throwing up that like crate, and like they're like, oh my god, that hurts. Like, but here he was last night, watching Lonzo Ball. He's out there, and I'm like, whoa, Lonzo Ball can shoot now. He got a nice little touch. Yeah. That's they're not taking that and putting that diagram in the in the dictionary next to, pure shot or anything, but he's totally fixed that broke jump shot. And I think Hayes he's got a little herky jerky to him. He needs some work. And, John Beilein is, you'd say, hey, why don't you go out and find somebody who's a shot doctor who understands all the well, that's what John Beilein is. So, I know he's getting at least that kind of schooling.
All right, Brian Chapman coming in on the chat again saying 0 points is terrible. I gave up on him when he couldn't score double figures against summer league competition. Even LiAngelo Ball put up 20 in Vegas. # bust. You know what, Chap? Come on, man. I'm just as pessimistic, but I want to give the kid some time. I really like how he passes the ball, and I like him on the court. So give the kid some time. He'll be better. I'm not expecting 25, 30 points from every night, but I'm expecting 10 to 20 points every night, somewhere in that range. I think Hayes will be a good player.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go back and steal the line from Beth, who's there in the feedback. She's just looking for progress. We're looking for little things. But you know what? You calling him out because he put a bagel up in the opener is something I understand. So I get it a little bit. But, as a professional, as, Chapman is, I would expect, a little bit more of an opportunity here. I don't know what was going on there. Sideshow Raj is talking about him being a deer in the headlights. I like the emoji game. Oh, it's Super Raciti who's in the house. Go ahead.
Boy.
Go ahead, boy. That is your boy.
Super Raciti is saying he's in the building, and he comes back again saying, yo, Dennis, Giannis beer. So I have no idea what that means in the second comment he has in the chat, but Super Raciti, welcome to the show.
Super Raciti always wants to get into, some kind of bet, when it comes down to the NBA. Mm-hmm. And he did the previous year. He's on a nice run. I have to give it to him because the previous year he liked the Lakers, and then last year he did not like the Lakers, and then he liked the Bucks, and I picked the Bucks. So that's Giannis, and he wants his free beer from me, I think is what that is all about. All right.
Well, so really quickly, he's going to owe me $100 just regarding the Lions wide receivers and all that, because he's a big Lions wide receivers guy. So I'll be expecting.
Yeah, I didn't see how you guys got that bet down. Like I told him, I was not betting. Like, I didn't feel good enough about the Clippers 2 years ago when it came down to he liked the Lakers and I like the Clippers. To put $100 on it or beers or something else. But one day I will buy Super Raciti a beer, and I will make that happen just for these great picks that he's made. And I'm glad that I didn't join in and go against him. On my nature to just go and just start throwing crazy money because Super Raciti wants to bet. All right. Anything else about the Pistons?
I'm just looking for them to be interesting this year, and I think they're going to be. I'm looking forward to game 2. So go Stones. Not super disappointed with last night. Just want them to shoot the ball better. That's my final thought.
Yeah, my final thought is I thought a little bit of a tease for the third chapter when we get into favorite announcers. I thought Blaha had his fastball last night. He was out there, count that baby and a foul. He had a great interview with Ben Wallace when he was sitting down there to listen to George. The appreciation he has for Big Ben, but it's just right off the bat, man. Isaiah Stewart's out there. He's like, he's got the name Isaiah, and he plays like Big Ben, who's in the house. Like the total fastball for Blaha, who's been doing this for 50 years. Great job by George, and they brought Rip City over there. Same thing. Both the Pistons and the Wings. The Wings with all the captains before on the ice, and then during these broadcasts, I'm listening to Nick Lidstrom and Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace last night for the Pistons. They're doing it upright. I liked it. Enjoy opening night that way. So all the pomp and so everything except the Killian Hayes and the 3-point shooting and Cade not playing. I mean, those are all three substantial things. I liked everything else. So I'm looking forward to Saturday night, which is also a tease. It's kind of a light college football slate, especially at night. And both the Red Wings and Pistons are playing, and Cade could be debuting. So it's setting up pretty nice. All right, let's get to chapter 2.
You want to move? Let's move. All right, let's do it. And that just means that the Lions, if people haven't heard, the Lions are playing in SoFi Stadium, which is in LA, where the Rams and Chargers play. And we're not playing the Chargers. That must mean we're playing the Rams. And that means we're playing the golden child, Detroit's favorite athlete ever, basically, Matt Stafford. Fifth, what are your opinions about Stafford? Have they changed? Are they the same? What are your opinions about Stafford going into Sunday's game?
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal for the Lions organization. Like, he toiled here for 12 years. He wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but, he was a good soldier. He didn't embarrass the city. He gave a good effort and everything. Sometimes, the situation was on him, but, he goes out to LA, man, and he's just supercharged. Here he is, MVP. The numbers are through the roof. Mm-hmm. I was watching a video of Colin Cowherd, was like, you know what? You go through life and you deal with management. He was talking about himself. He's like, I've been with great managers and I like living in Southern California, and they've been really able to prop me up and let me do my work. And, and Matt Stafford, if he would have, asked out of Detroit 6 years ago, this guy could be playing for a gold jacket. This guy could be playing for the Hall of Fame. But you know what? He was so good to the city that he stayed around here that, now, that he's escaped and he's in LA. I mean, the whole point was like, he could have forced his way out a lot sooner and got out of Detroit. And, it's hard to take, there's a lot of us Lion fans who look at it and say, yeah, I mean, it is a terrible organization. And of course, I mean, the Forge, and you go down all the way through it. And it's really hard when you're spiraling in one direction to get out of there, even if you are somebody like Matt Stafford. But then there's the other part here where people, when they get out, all of a sudden it's like you turn on them and you're like, I hell with them, and Detroit versus everyone and all this. And, Stafford, to me, it couldn't have been, it was almost, well, it wasn't almost, it was overboard. Like the saying goodbye and the full page ad or the video that, was out there, the tearful goodbye. I mean, he did everything he could. He didn't embarrass the organization on the way out. He didn't say, I'm glad I got out of this hellhole. It was exactly the opposite. He said, I loved my time here. He learned a lot, and it was on to LA. And, now it couldn't be any better for him. He's out there on the beach and the sun is shining and he's playing great. And this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. If you're a Lions fan, like the resiliency of some fans, I find sometimes I wish I would have it. Like you just have these blinders. Like you can go out there, the Lions can put together the worst seasons, the worst games, and people are just like, man, that's why they call them slappies. They're like, let's go. When's the draft? Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions are going to go out there and get embarrassed by their former hero on Sunday, and it's going to be another one of these things. Like, Jesus, so I really have to put myself. What am I doing? Putting myself through this. And then you're going to have to, and people are going to complain about the announcers like, oh my God, why do you have to keep, talking about Matt Stafford? Here's another tweet about how everybody's going to be all over him. I know you're going to be doing, everybody's going to be doing it. It's just going to be like, I've had enough of it. And so I'm just ready for all of that. And it was predictable in some ways. I still think that everybody better be careful when it comes down to a big spot with Matt Stafford. But, he's got so many of the players around him. Maybe he'll be able to push through and maybe, ultimately he'll have success and get to and win the Super Bowl, which would be, I think it's because, Sunday's going to be just like a little taste of that, how it would be if the Rams succeeded in the postseason.
All right. So the way I'm looking at it is, I don't agree that it's a slap in the face just for the fact that the Lions didn't win a damn thing with Stafford under center. A slap in the face is Max Scherzer winning a ring with the Nationals, then playing for another World Series with the Dodgers right now, or Sergei Fedorov going to the Washington Capitals after he won so many Stanley Cups with the Wings. That's a slap in the face. So when I'm looking at the whole Matt Stafford thing, I think people who watch the show understand where I'm coming from regarding Matt Stafford. I'm not a Stafford guy. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's elite. I think Detroit had these disgusting expectations for him and these standards for him that he wasn't there. And people just love the guy because he stuck with the Lions for so long. And the only reason he stuck with the Lions for so long was for the fact that he's a company man. He doesn't complain about stuff. He's like, oh, okay, I'm making all this money. I don't care. He should never have re-signed with the Lions to begin with. And that's the reason that, or the fact that he re-signed with the Lions proves to me that he did not really care about winning. He just wanted to be a company guy, have the good stats, and be like, oh, you know what? I play for the Lions. That's why I'm not going to be like playing for playoff games. That's why I'm not elite. But when I'm looking at him on the Rams now, anybody could be a good quarterback on that team. Seriously, look at the wide receivers. You have Cooper Kupp, you have Deshaun Jackson, you have Robert Woods, you have Tyler Higbee as your tight end.
Jared Goff.
It's a fair point. Jared Goff never finished below 500 playing for the Rams. He went to a Super Bowl. He won playoff games for them. Exactly.
Won a playoff game last year.
That's my point. Anybody can be good. And of course, Stafford's going to have these good stats. But at the end of the day, Stafford is a very 10 to 15 range quarterback in the NFL. I think you can find plenty of guys who are better than him. I don't think Stafford's that great of a player. And just obviously he's going to look amazing playing for the Rams, but Stafford's okay. My opinions haven't changed about him.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's elite. Let me read some of the feedback here, and then I got a real doozy of a trade question for the Lions. And let me throw the question at you, and then you can just think about it while I read some of the feedback. How about that?
Okay.
I was on Twitter today, and this popped up because I think his name's Randy Galloway, who covers the Texans. He's somebody that's covered that team and has been a reporter for 25 years. His story is that expect Deshaun Watson to get traded to the Dolphins like in the next 24 hours. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then this tweet came in from a Lions fan asking if you would trade one of those Rams late first-round picks. They have two, right, over the next 2 years they got for Goff. Would you trade that for Tua? So I just want you to think about that for a second as I read the feedback here. Super Raciti saying enough already. With everyone being obsessed with Stafford, the man went to a better organization. Bottom line, just be happy for him. And we're done. Yeah, well, you know what? That's Super Rashid. That's easier said than done. Here it is again, going back to dating or everything else. It's like and for Lion fans, I mean, that was the prettiest girl they ever went out with. It was the hottest girl they ever went out with, and she left him, and now she's out there and she's met this rich dude who's got this great job and looks great. He looks great, drives a great car. You moved on, and should you just be happy? Like they always say, well, I just want to be happy for her. It's like, all right, can you be happy for her? Jonah, can you be real happy for the hottest girl? You're probably, dating the hottest girl you ever went out with, which is good. But the other, the situation, like, come on, do you really feel good for her? All of that. No, it's hard.
I don't.
It's hard to do.
It would be more impressive to, let's say, that Stafford went to a team that's not as great, like the Carolina Panthers or the Houston Texans, for example, and was lighting it up like he is now. If he was with the Texans roster right now, then I would be like, okay, holy crap, this guy's really good. I take it back. My bad, guys. I was wrong. But him being on one of the three best teams in the league doesn't change it for me at all. And going back to that Tua question, no.
Hold on. Let me go through all the feedback before you answer the Tua question. Sideshow Raj asking if the Rams will win the NFC West. I picked San Francisco, and obviously Arizona hasn't lost a game right now, so it's a pretty odd. And Seattle looks like they're on the outs there because of Russell Wilson. Finale's got Stafford with the 7th best odds to win the MVP. Maybe they get an easy schedule. Maybe throwing some money on Matt Stafford. Then you could really say, hey, you know what? I'm rooting for Matt Stafford. I put $100 on him to win the MVP. All right. And one more here. Sideshow Raj not only wants the Pistons to trade for Ben Simmons, he wants the Lions to trade for Deshaun Watson, and they will soon be Detroiters. Like Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause. If we're getting into like, if he waived his no trade clause, should the Lions be interested? And like they knew that he was going to be able to play next year. I think that they should be interested, but are the Lions giving up Taylor Decker and 3 number ones for Deshaun Watson? I don't think you can do that. I think like the Lions are going to have a really high pick over the next 2 years. They have to draft a quarterback, and with one of those top picks, and that's going to be the guy you ride with, and then hopefully on that rookie contract within 3 or 4 years, you're going to be able to compete in the NFC. I am against trading for Deshaun Watson, but what about trading for Tua, who a lot of people wanted the Lions to draft last year, and they ended up taking Jeff Okudah, who I think we all can put him in a bust category, the injuries and whatever else. So I don't know, Jelinek, you want to give up one of the Rams this year, the Rams pick, and you can get Tua Tagovailoa?
No, because Tua is made of paper mache. The man has been hurt for basically what feels like 30 years now. I understand he's really young. I understand he was really good at Alabama and all that. But, man, ankle injuries, broken ribs, bad hips, stuff like that. The guy is dinged up every other week, and I just can't trade away a late first and a second or a third for Tua at all. I can't do that. I would not want to do it. Besides, let's say you trade for Tua. Let's say Tua's on the team next Sunday. He's not playing at all this year. He's not playing at all next year. You're not paying Jared Goff all that money to send your bench. Jared Goff's the quarterback for the next 2 years. Regardless, Tua's out. No chance. I would love to trade for Deshaun Watson, but A, the Texans price is way too high, and B, I'm just not dishing out picks like that. So, and you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea what's going to happen with Deshaun with all of his legal issues. But Tua, Deshaun, I'm out. No chance. I'll rather go through the draft in 2 years from now.
Yeah, I think Tua's probably going to be, if the Texans do trade Deshaun Watson to Miami, I would guess that, Tua would be heading the other way, in some kind of 3 first rounders and Tua Tagovailoa. So I don't think he's going to be available, but the reason I didn't want to take him at number 3 last year was because of that hip, and the Lions medical team couldn't get their hands on him because it was COVID and they couldn't go through all that. Now it hasn't been the hip. He's had some other ailments, but I would give up a late first round pick right now for Tua if they wanted to do that. The Lions don't have to pay Jared Goff. They shouldn't have restructured his deal. I didn't like that.
No, they shouldn't have
at the beginning. So it should have been one of these 2-year deals, and you can hit the eject button. But bringing in Tua and he doesn't have any receivers or anything, so he's going to be in a tough situation like Goff is. They're going to be teeing off. Maybe he'd end up getting hurt, but next year that's going to be the situation too. They're going to have to draft a quarterback at some point, and they're going to have to play him. Like if they end up with the number 1 pick and they take the quarterback out of Liberty, and they don't have to play him in game 1, but at some point they're going to have to play him. And it doesn't matter if Jared, let him take his licks. Who cares if it's Jared Goff or a rookie quarterback? And bringing in Tua, seeing what you got. It's not like you had to giving up your first round pick where you're giving up the potential number 1 overall. You're giving up maybe pick 32, maybe pick 28. Would I give up pick 28 for Tua and bring him in right now and let him go? I would do that.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to trade any draft capital away right now, especially for a quarterback that's hurt 9 times out of 10. I mean, Tua's been in the league. This is year 2 for Tua now, right?
2 for Tua.
This would have been his first. This would have been his first full year starting. So, and how many games is he playing this year? I don't know, half of them, if that.
Couple.
I mean, Tua's he's just injury prone. I'm just too worried about that. And I don't want to say
you're worried. You're always worried.
I'm always worried.
You're going to worry you. You're worried about Cade McNamara or Cade Cunningham. Cade McNamara. You're worried about Cunningham not debuting till Christmas.
Yeah, I would stay away from Tua. Absolutely not. Guy gets hurt too much. See, Sideshow Raj on the chat's agreeing with Brian. He just says I'm a smarter person.
There you go. You found somebody to agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done with chapter 2. What about you?
I'm done with chapter 2. Let's get into a chapter that I love talking about, that I will always debate people on. As my buddy Aaron Litt said, I'm always gassed up talking about announcers. Our friend group loves talking about announcers. That's half the reason why I watch the game. So when we were talking about Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson on Tuesday, I decided, you know what? It's finally time. We got to bring this debate up on the show. Who are our favorite announcers? I specifically chose guys who are doing the work in 2021 with one special exemption, but we can just open up the floor really to whoever people like, and we can bring Pete, or we can bring intern Pete in as well. And fifth, we'll start with you. Who are some of your favorite announcers in the game right now?
And by the way, in a couple of minutes, we'll get Rob's Final Four as well, because he sent me a text. He was so excited to talk about broadcasters as well. So I know he's working feverishly behind the scene. Yeah, you know what? This is always one you got to put the parameters out there. You're talking about guys that are currently broadcasting. Are you talking about just Detroit broadcasters? You're talking about play-by-play guys? You're talking about color analysts as well? You just said go ahead and put 4 out there. And I'm going to give you 5. And, you know, growing up, I liked Bob Ufer on Michigan football games. I can remember listening to him back in the day. The exuberance of Bob Ufer coming through the radio when I'm, 7 years old. I'd never heard anything like that. It was amazing. So Bob Ufer. But I got George Blaho. I was on the call last night. He's still broadcasting. I've always liked what he has brought to the table for the Pistons. For the Red Wings, I could see how people could put Ken Kell, but before Ken Kell, it was Bruce Martin, and there is nobody who calls a hockey game better than Bruce Martin. Bob Cole nationally, I love for CBC, but give me Bruce Martin, and then George Kell and Ernie Harwell. And if I whittled it down to a final 2, I would have Bruce Martin from the Red Wings, and I would have George Kell, the outstanding Tigers broadcaster. You see his name out in the outfield on the wall as a player there, and my favorite broadcaster of all time, George Kell, the late Tiger TV announcer, my fave of all time. There it is.
When really quickly, I'm sorry if I'm going to upset anybody with this, but when did George Kell stop? When did he retire from broadcasting?
Yeah, I would say, off the top of my head, let me think. I would say early 90s. So you might not have been born yet.
Yeah, that's unfortunately before my time.
Right.
Pete, before we get to you, I'm going to list out mine real quick. And I kept mine more national because I love all the radio guys in Detroit. Ken Cal, Dan Dickerson, Mark Champion, and Dan Miller. I think all of them. I love the radio guys in the city. I think they're all phenomenal. I like them better. Besides Mickey Redmond and Ken Daniels, the TV guys aren't great. So I'm always for the radio guys. Radio guys are better. But when I'm making my list, first of all, people, I made a list of 32 people. I just sorry, the light's terrible. I made a list of 32 people. I got carried away with this. And my final 4 or 5, if you will, would be Jim Nantz, Vern Lundquist, Doris Burke, who I think is phenomenal. I love Doris Burke, Doc Emmerich, and Chris Collinsworth. I love all those people. That's why I made it more of a broadcaster thing and not play-by-play. But if I'm narrowing it down, it's got to be between Vern Lundquist and Doc Emmerich. Vern Lundquist's call for the Iron Bowl game from a few years ago where they won on the last second kick 6. Truly incredible. I love Vern Lundquist on the 16th tower at the Masters. Guy's incredible. So
both of those guys are retired now, are they?
Doc Emmerich is the only one who's officially retired from everything. But Vern Lundquist still does the Masters. Jim Nantz is Jim Nantz. He's the man. He does everything. Jim Nantz, I think, is truly phenomenal. Doris Burke still does. She's
I was just talking about Vern. I was just talking about Vern and Doc.
Oh no, Doc's totally gone. But there's one call that I remember with Doc. It was a game in New York, and Rick Nash had this nasty one-timer against Jonas Gustafsson, the monster, from like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and just Doc Emmerich's call was just truly incredible. And I think that man, when he was in broadcasting, was the best in the game. And one last person I forgot to mention is Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan, awesome. basketball, football, whatever. But those are my guys. I would have to say Doc Emmerich is the winner because Doc is just truly incredible.
All right, you did a good job whittling it down. You came up with a number one there. The Doc, who is actually from the state of Michigan, so that's pretty good as well. Yep, and so that gets us to Penn State Pete. Pete,
Ooh, I like that.
I don't know. Like I know back in the day, Paterno's brother was a color analyst on the radio broadcast. I doubt that that's the case anymore. So I don't know. Who are you going with?
Well, before I get into that, there was a comment from Chappie asking if I was on the comm radio, and I would just say I'm not. That is something that is on my maybe to-do list before I got into that. But yeah, obviously, I'm a little bit younger. I'm more strictly football, a lot more NFL. So, what are you laughing, Brian?
There's a comment from a friend saying Brian not including Bill Raftery in his finalists because he doesn't have onions. That's top tier. So I love Bill Raftery and the onions calls, but I'm sorry, Penn State Pete. Please continue.
I like Raftery too.
So this was tough, and then the bracket was a little bit frustrating at times because it just so happened that you would have a couple of guys come up against each other. So like I would have someone out a lot earlier than I would have liked to have them. But you mentioned Kevin Harlan, who I actually has what?
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Kevin Harlan.
Yeah,
awesome.
I have him. I had actually put him as my favorite. He is him and Gus Johnson. I love both of them are so entertaining and just so fun to listen to. And Harlan, my favorite was, I think it was 2019, was he was calling two games. He was calling the Dolphins, Patriots, and the Chiefs were playing. I'm blank. I don't remember who they were playing, but it was the last game of the season. It was week 17, and the Patriots were the 2 seed, and the Chiefs were the 3 seed. If the Chiefs won, the Patriots lost, then the Chiefs got the 2 seed. So he was calling both of those games at the same time, and the Chiefs were kicking an extra point, and the Dolphins had just gotten a go-ahead touchdown. And one of the guys who was going with, he's like, I'm confused. Which game are you calling? He's like, I'm calling both games, and that's one of my favorites from him. And then, I got guys like Chris and Al as a duo. Fantastic. It was a little hard. I had them going up against each other at one point, and I leaned a little bit towards Al, but really with that, I could have gone either way. But I mean,
can you impersonate any of these guys? As you talk about them, I wanted to try. I've never even tried to impersonate Collinsworth, but I wanted to say, here's a guy, man.
Here's a guy. Yep. No, I don't think I could. I could do any of that. Yeah, that's about.
Isn't it just a great night just to be out here and watching football, guys?
Oh, God, sorry, I love him.
He's fun.
Yeah,
and Al, I don't know, Al. Like, I don't know what a catch is anymore, Al. I just really don't. Like,
no,
you
yeah,
go down there, you watch it, and he comes up. We're talking over here with the rules guy, and come on, we don't know what's going on. Terry McCauley. Go ahead.
You guys can't forget Vern Lundquist is doing the SEC on CBS too. I mean, him just coming in, chiming in over Bryant-Denny Stadium, and now we're here in Alabama, and you just sends shivers down your spine. Brad Nessler doing it now too. I love that call, but overall, Vern's the man.
Yeah, I don't think you've made any bad calls except Champion. But he's not my cup of tea. But a lot of people like him. So I think all the other calls that you made, I'm right with you, and I think those guys are outstanding broadcasters. Pete, out of all of them, you can only pick one as your favorite. Jelinek, he went with Doc Emmerich, and I went with the late George Kell. Who's your favorite all-time broadcaster?
Again, like I said, if it was a duo, it would be Al and Chris. But as a solo,
you're gonna have you pick one. Sorry.
No, I was getting to there.
Okay.
I was saying as a duo, they're great, but as a solo, I went with Kevin Harlan.
Oh yeah, you did. Woo! Okay, yeah. You did, and I wasn't listening. Now we do have. Before we go, I forgot. Like, how long has our guest been there? I'm sorry about that. But let's get Rob in here to give his broadcasters, and then we will bring in Adrian Myers. Can you add yourself in there, Rob? Because if I do it, you're going to do it, and then you're going to zero yourself out.
Are we in?
Yeah, there you go. I like your screen. I like what you're doing there. All right.
Thank you.
I know, Adrian. I know your favorites are Fithian and Myers. Those are two of your favorites, and Finelli. I don't know where you land on Jelinek, but go ahead.
All right, number one. Am I too loud right now? Let's come down.
You sound all right.
Can you hear the music though? Are we working on that aspect?
Yeah,
I heard
give
it for
us your
just a
top
second.
4, man. Let's hear.
All right, Romo. We got Tony Romo, and then we go baseball. We got Matt Vasgersian, Santa Maria,
no way.
Gus Johnson in basketball.
Instant classic.
And then, of course, we have to go with George Blaha in basketball. Back when he was with Kelly Tripucka when I was a young man, those were great days. But I'll turn it over to Adrian now.
Hey, that was awesome. Hey, I also don't want to do somebody's got to do an impersonation of somebody. I used to be able to do a little bit. I don't know, Jim. I just don't know what the call's going to be here. I just don't have any idea.
Yeah.
But that's my
Tony
Romo.
I love Tony Romo's, and we do this
I
in our
love
friend
Romo.
group all the time. Ooh, Jim, I don't know. I love Romo.
Jim, this is going to be pretty exciting. All right. It is very exciting to bring in the aforementioned Adrian Myers from Keeping the Score, who joins us here on the broadcast. And Adrian, it's great to see you. I saw a picture on your Twitter feed. It didn't look like a stock photo. It looked like it was a photo actually that you took at the Little Caesars Arena of opening night last night. Where'd you get that photo from?
I was at the game last night, so I just I got a video of it real quick.
Oh, so tell us what it was like there. I saw some reports of 75, 80% capacity. What were people like? What was the energy like in the building?
I would say it was probably about 80%. The energy in there was man, it was lit in there, man. People were excited. The only thing I would say, people were a lot of people were disappointed because K didn't play last night, but the fans came out and supported the team really well. I like the direction the team is actually going. But the energy overall was good. After being out of there for a whole year and some change, it was good to get the people back in there and get them energized. I like what I've seen from Jeremy Grant. I'm not sold on Killian Hayes, but we can get into that another day. But overall, I like the energy and like where this team is going. But it was fun last night. I had a good time.
Yeah. Well, hey, Pete, we're going to talk with you in the pickup segment, right? Is that what you're at?
Fifth, can I call an audible? Can we keep Adrian in for the picks this week? Have a celebrity guest picker? Are we making that call already?
That sounds good to me.
All right.
That sounds good to me.
That's good.
All right, Pete, we'll talk with you in a second. Wait, so I can click him out, or do I got to? I'll do it.
I got him. There we go. Oh, we got music going too. Are we sticking with Pistons? We're gonna move to some baseball, then picks. What are we doing here, Fifth?
Well, I think we can ask Adrian's well versed on everything. Like he said, man, he's excited about everything that's going on. Like, you know what? Like I was just talking about the Pistons, and we talked about them so much. You covered it after the Pistons and after baseball last night. I flip on and I'm watching the Knicks. The game and the Celtics. That was awesome. Like going back, that was reminiscent. The Knicks playoff games last year because of coming out of the pandemic, and they've got the Hawks in there. Just listening to the crowd go crazy, and then I don't know what it was on Twitter. They've got. I like the idea. They go to random New York sports fans, and these guys are all like, "The Knicks are awesome," and they're just yelling and everything. But that was a great game last night, and the Celtics had 5 chances. They were double overtime to hit a 3. Of course, the Smart hit a 3 after the Celtics were down. Looked like they were going to be buried. So, I mean, it was an awesome night. Even though it was an opening night, it was an opening night for the Pistons. It felt like that, Adrian.
Yeah, that Celtics game was pretty exciting. Although the Knicks did blow a 10-point lead in 26 seconds, I just feel like they kind of crumbled. But opening night was good. I checked around the association. The team I'm really looking forward to seeing is LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. Sacramento Kings with Tyrese Halliburton, who I think the Pistons actually should have drafted over Killian Hayes, but that's a different story for a different day. But I'm excited for the Pistons. I know they're not going to make the playoffs, but they'll be competitive in every game because Jeremy Grant is a stud. If we can
Stud.
get Cade to develop him and then get another player, he's a good guy. I like Isaiah Stewart. He plays with a lot of energy and is a hustle guy. And the rest of these guys just fills out the roster, but they play hard. So they're gonna finish in the bottom half of the league, but they're gonna fight every night.
I'm going to jump in here. I know, Jelinek, I'm monopolizing the time here, but I wonder, like, when Cunningham comes back, if he's going to be the guy that's taking the shot down the stretch, because we did see Saddiq Bey try a little show and go or whatever else. He couldn't get it done. And when it comes down to handling the ball, it was Grant, and it should be. I mean, he was the guy last year, and he was the guy in the last 5 minutes here. We were giving him the ball and seeing if he could match what was going on the other side with the Bulls, and it didn't happen. I want a little shared responsibility there. Put the ball in Cade's hand and let him deal. How do you think that's going to work for Dwayne Casey?
I was more to the notion that I thought this could work, but the more I'm watching Killian play, he hasn't shown me that he's had the potential to be an actual really good NBA player. I don't see the confidence there. I just think he's shook, and having him and Cade on the floor together is not going to work just because he's not really a shooter. And he doesn't scare the defense. And Cade has to have the ball in his hands a lot to make some plays. So I don't think that they're gonna have the ability to be able to play them both together and be efficient while they do it.
Go ahead, Jelinek. Anything? Adrian can handle it all. Let's talk about anything.
Just still talking about the Killian thing, man. I don't see. I'm not saying I don't see him being a superstar, but I don't see him sucking either. I think I see him as like a middle of the pack point guard who's going to be a 10 to 15 point guy every game, which I am totally fine with because we're going to need background players for Jeremy Grant and Cade Cunningham. So don't get me wrong with that. One person that I really looked at was Saddiq Bey too. I thought he's totally transformed his game compared to last year to this year. Last year he was a knockdown shooter and that was about it. Like last night, he had these awesome spin moves around DeMar DeRozan and stuff like that. He was playing with his body more. He was keeping up with the bigger guys, going one-on-one. I really like this new quote-unquote Saddiq Bey. I know it's one game in the season, but throughout the preseason and this one game, Saddiq Bey's been a lot better. So what do you think about that?
I definitely do think that Saddiq Bey is definitely the real deal because honestly, I watched him play at Villanova and I knew he was a pretty solid player, but when the Pistons took him, I kind of think it was just like a flyer and like, let's see how good he's going to be. But he's actually turned out to be a lot better than what we expected. But I just think if you have the development of Cade and Saddiq, that'll get you a long way. But as good as Killian's going to be, is going to determine everything. And if he's not going to be who the Pistons thought he was when they drafted him, they're still a piece away from being able to really contend in the Eastern Conference, especially how good it is now with Chicago, Boston still got Jaylen Brown and Tatum. You still got the Nets with KD and Harden. So the Milwaukee Bucks, who are still I think the best team in the Eastern Conference. But I like the progress so far. I like the optimism, Jelinek, but I have to see it to believe it. I'm a really tough critic on Killian Hayes. I need to see the confidence. That's my thing. I don't see it right now.
So even if I have the ceiling set as a middle pack point guard, you still think that's high as of right now?
I think he's just pretty. I just think he's average. I think he's average to below average. Like I think his ceiling is going to be average for me. So probably maybe, like you said, about 12 points a game. But if he has a little more confidence, I think he can go a long way. It's just he doesn't want to shoot the ball. He's 0 for 6 last night, I believe, in 20 minutes. And see if Dwayne Casey wants to see what he's got with him. Let him sit out there more. He didn't even play him late down the stretch of the game against a very good Chicago Bulls team.
You know what? It's funny you brought up. Sorry, Dennis. Really quickly, it's funny you brought up the times because when I was looking, 4 of the 5 Bulls starters all played at least 32 minutes, and Jeremy Grant and Saddiq Bey were the only 2 Pistons starters to play above 31 or 32 minutes total. Everyone else is in the mid-20s. So I would love to see. I totally with you. I would love to see him just throw Killian out there for 33 minutes and see what the kid can do. So I'm totally with you with that. But they definitely need to have more minutes on the floor.
Yeah, time will tell. I'm gonna give him another 10 to 15 games to see what we really get from him. We'll be able to tell by the end of November. So they got a backloaded schedule in November coming up with the Lakers, the Warriors, the Heat, the Nets. So we're gonna see what he's really made of.
plays like he did last night, I want to see more Saban Lee. All right, let's just turn the page and get to baseball, and then we can get to our picks here. Adrian's going to be with all of it, and when we do get to baseball, we're mixing things up. We've got a game tonight. It is it's the Braves and the Dodgers, or is it which one are we sitting at? Is
Braves Dodgers. It's going to be
Braves,
it's an elimination game for the Dodgers tonight, and
Yes.
I don't want to be like Charles Barkley and jinx the Bravos, but I really do believe that the Braves are the better team. They're playing better baseball right now, and watching what the Braves are doing to this Dodgers lineup that features stud pitchers in Max Scherzer and Walker Buehler to the best lineup in baseball of Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Mookie Betts, Justin Turner, all these guys. The Dodgers are a freak team, and the Braves are just, frankly, just kicking their ass. It's that simple. I love watching it happen. So, gentlemen, before we go into the AL, what do you believe? What do you think about the Braves?
This is the least year I expected them to put this together, because last year they were loaded. They had all their health. They don't have their best player, arguably in Acuna, but their pitching and their bullpen has been phenomenal. The Charlie Morton has been stellar, man. Rosario's gave him a punch off the bench. Gave him a punch in the lineup. It's Freddie Freeman is the leader of that team, so I think he's keeping them together and he's leading these guys. I'm impressed. When was the last time the Braves went to the World Series? Was it 1991, I believe, somewhere in there?
It's been a while. Yeah, since they were rolling. The guys all the way around the infield are pretty awesome. This is completely deja vu, because if you go back to last year, I know that was they were playing in Texas or whatever because of the pandemic. This is the exact spot that the Braves had the Dodgers. They were up 3-1. I mean, they had them, and the Dodgers were able to come back. So I know there's a lot of people probably playing that, Dodgers money line now, to come back and win the series there. It's amazing how, I think it was Dusty Baker, the Astros manager, who you go back to Tuesday and it's 2-1. The Red Sox, they're up at Fenway.
I said they were dead. I'm with you.
All right. It just looked like it was over. The Sox, they are just complete command. Altuve hits the home run to tie it. They throw on an extra 5-6 runs. The Astros win it. And since then, man, it looks like a complete Astros parade. So I don't know. I would say that the Astros, they're going to be home, that they'll end up Evalde, came in a relief appearance and got roughed up. But, he was great in the wild card. If he's pitches like he did the wild card against the Yankees, and we go to a game 7, it's back at Fenway. I could see that happening right there. But no, I would pick the Astros. But I feel like Jelinek a little bit. I'm scared of the Dodgers if I'm a Braves fan, knowing that they have the propensity to blow things in the postseason.
Oh, see, I'm not saying that. If that came out like that, that's wrong. I'm all in on the Braves bandwagon. So obviously the Tigers suck this year, so I had to go in with the Rays, who are my second favorite baseball team. They got trashed by the Red Sox, so I'm all in on the Braves now, and I am praying to God that the 3-1 lead holds and the Dodgers do not come back, because I do not want to see another LA Boston or LA Astros World Series. I won't be able to do it. I physically can't do it. And these playoffs have made me totally fall back in love with baseball, because I think the baseball has been truly incredible, both in the AL and the NL. So please don't give me a repeat. Give me at least one new team in the Fall Classic. So Braves, man, I'm all in on the Braves.
Adrian, we've got a few feedback here, and then we'll see if you have any final thoughts before we get to the picks here. Super Raciti making his picks. He loves the NBA. He likes the Lakers all the way this year. I don't know. Did you make a pick like Nets, Lakers, Bucks? Who'd you pick in the finals? If not, we can talk through it right now.
I'm gonna go Bucks, Lakers. I'm not sold on. I really don't want to pick the Lakers, but it's really tough for me to bet against LeBron as much as I respect LeBron, but I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. If Clay was healthy, my dark horse would be the Warriors, but I got to see how my boy comes back, because that's my favorite player in the league. But I'm going to go to the Lakers. My problem with the Lakers is it's the health. It's going to be determined if Anthony Davis can stay healthy for a full season. Can LeBron not break down? They're probably the oldest team in the league. They literally picked up every guy from the 2011 All-Star game. But I like what the Bucks are doing right now. It looks like the momentum is continuing to roll into the season. They handled the Nets pretty well. I think they match up well. Especially the biggest deciding factor will be if Kyrie will be able to decide to get vaccinated. Who knows? what he's going to do with that. And by the way, guys, I don't want to see Ben Simmons on the Pistons, so they can cut all that talk. I'm tired of hearing about it because I'm not the biggest Ben Simmons fan, even before all this. So if that happens, I would be very upset with Troy Weaver.
But you're upset with this show because we were talking about it left and right, and we didn't even plan on talking about it. It just comes up because it's on the mind of Detroit sports fans. This is a good reminder here that we were talking about the broadcasters, and all the best to Dick Vitale, who announced that he's dealing with cancer. So all the best there to one of my favorites all time, Dickie V. All right, you ready to move on to the picks?
Let's do it, man.
Let's
Rob,
do it.
Music. Let's make some picks, boys.
Are you good at making selections, Adrian?
Let's do it. You know,
Okay, we'll find out.
He chose Texas. Or he chose Oklahoma. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
All right, Rob, if we can cut the music down just a little bit, we are ready to roll. All right, so we are starting, obviously, in college. And number 2, Cincinnati is on the road to take on Navy. Cincinnati laying 28 points on the road. Pete, we're going to start with you.
Let's do it. Look, my girlfriend is a huge Army fan, so she loves to tell me about how bad Navy is. And I know they've been just flat out awful this year. And obviously Cincinnati's number 2 in the nation, so they need no real introduction there. As big as it is, give me Cincinnati. I take them by like 30.
Okay. All right. Adrian, we're going to head to you, man.
Hey, Cincinnati looks to continue to dominate and get into the college football playoff. I had a friend who played college basketball in Cincinnati for Xavier, which is right across the street from Cincinnati. And these boys have been rolling. Give me Cincinnati and the points easily.
Woo! 5th?
Yeah, when it comes to the service academies, I liked Army against Wisconsin last week. I like Army again this week in the points. And you know what? I love all those points. I know what Cincinnati's doing here, but you know what? Give me all the points. The thing about the service academy, the other team tends to take it easy on them. Mm-hmm. And also when you're running the ball so much, shortens up the game. It's difficult to, prepare and what's going on there. Give me the midshipman in 28.
5th, I'm just going to copy exactly what you said. 28 is a huge number. I don't care if you're the number 2 team in the country. Cincinnati's going to win, but they are not going to win by more than 28 points. So give me Navy.
Since he's put up over 50 the last 2 games, so
give me 1 and 5 Navy.
Yeah, just Navy will cover. I don't care if it's by 27 points, but they're going to cover the spread. Game number 2, LSU is heading to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. The number 12 Rebels are laying 9 points. Adrian, we're going to start with you. Who are you taking?
Lane Kiffin, I think, is trying to play a prank on us. As we all know, last week was a debacle in Tennessee. Those fans were acting crazy, throwing golf balls and mustard and whatnot. But you're going to give me – I'm going to take Ole Miss, but I'm going to take not with the points, though, because I'm not sure right now if Matt Corral is going to end up playing. Said he's questionable, so that's the big key. LSU had a big win against Florida, but they're done for. So they're ready to get their new coach, and who knows who it's going to be. But give me Ole Miss, even with the backup quarterback.
Absolutely, Pete.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Adrian. I don't like the 9-point difference. I know, LSU is kind of in a bit of a wreck right now, but Ole Miss hasn't quite been what I thought they were going to be this year, so I think they're going to cover at least.
5th.
I think they're going to win one for Coach O. Go Tigers! I'm going to go ahead and Mel Tucker's future team there. I know that they want Jimbo Fisher, but
come on, Dennis.
Mel Tucker's watching, and I think they win one for Coach O, and Tuck's coming.
Wow.
Yeah, even if Matt Corral doesn't play, Ole Miss is a way better team than LSU. That program is on the verge of being in shambles, and it's starting to freak me out a little bit. Give me the Rebels. I'm not worried about that at all. And finally, for the college games, we're going to do number 6, U of M is hosting the Northwestern Wildcats. Wolverines are laying 23.5 points. Adrian, we're going to start with you.
I love my Wolverines, and they do it. They've been actually covering this year, so you're going to give me. I think this is a look-ahead week for Michigan, and I don't think they're going to be focused early on this game. I'm going to take Michigan, but Northwestern is going to cover.
Hold on there, son. Hold on.
Ooh, I like the drops. Pete.
Again, what Adrian's saying is he's hitting it on the head. They're looking ahead. They got Michigan State coming. I know we both just picked Cincy to win by more than 28, but in this situation, 23.5 is way too much for me. As obviously they're a much better team, but give me Michigan to win, but give me Northwestern to cover.
Yeah, I think the part here, you guys, the one thing is, looking ahead in trap games, that is true. We saw it from Michigan State, but they were on the road. I think Michigan, being at home, the crowd will energize them enough. Plus, the Northwestern run defense sucks, and Michigan's really good with their 1-2 combo and what they got going with Corum and Haskins. Plus, I think that pouring it on late, they want to get J.J. McCarthy more snaps, and it's not just going in there and handing the ball off. Let's see him throw, some of these passes. Let's see if he can throw from one hash to the other. Let's see him take some deep shots down the seam. So get him in there, and to me, that spells tacking on a couple more touchdowns. I'll lay the 23.5. I like Michigan big. I like them by 30.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm with Vic on that too. I am not worried about that whatsoever. I don't think they're going to worry too much about the aerial attack, just for the fact that Northwestern's run defense is god awful. It's like throwing the four of us on the front line against Michigan. So Michigan's going to just demolish Northwestern. Give me you with them.
Rob, 42-0. Is that yours pick? Yeah, that's 42-0. That's the inside joke we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I got all sorts of noises coming in now.
We're gonna pound out the NFL real quick. We are gonna start with Thursday Night Football, gentlemen, which is gonna be on in mere minutes. The Browns are a 2-point favorite for the visiting Broncos, and the Browns basically are dead. No Baker, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt. OBJ is a go, but that man has one leg. Adrian, we're gonna start with you. Who you got?
We have a disaster.
This is probably the worst game of the week. This game is not going to be fun to watch, but give me Denver in the points.
Pete?
God, I feel like I'm just following up Adrian every time. The Browns have nobody to put out on the field. Not to mention, their offense, but also their defense. The Broncos have been getting exposed. They started 3-0. They've been exposed for not being the team that we thought they were going to. They were thinking they were going to be. But give me the Broncos. Give me them to win. The Browns have nobody to play football tonight.
Is Baker Mayfield? I know he needs surgery. Is he not playing tonight?
No, Case Keenum has to go.
Come on, man. Give me Teddy Two Glove, and let's go, man. The Broncos got some wide outs, and they got an excellent defense. So, and I love their 1-2 punch they got with the old man. And the rookie running back, man. I know they're not the 3-0 team that started out, but yeah, I like the Broncos outright tonight as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize when I was making the picks this morning that Baker was for sure out and that Kareem Hunt was out. So knowing that, I would have picked this game. But yeah, the Browns are broken, so give me the Broncos. They're going to easily demolish the Browns on the road. So game number 2. Going from one literally broken team to a figuratively broken team, the 3-3 broken Kansas City Chiefs are on the road in Nashville taking on the Titans. KC is a 5.5-point favorite on the road. Pete, we're going to start with you.
If it wasn't for last week, the Titans going and beating Buffalo, that totally switched everything. If that didn't happen, I would have taken KC. But Derrick Henry is going to have himself another huge day. Give me the Titans. They're at least going to cover. I like them to win too.
Yeah, I'll jump in really quick. I hated how their rookie corner is out for the year. That hurts Tennessee. I think that's a big blow for them. I love King Henry and everything, and I picked the Titans, as everybody knows, to make the Super Bowl. But I think that KC comes in here like they went into Washington last week, and I think they cover that 5.5.
Hey, I'm right here with Dennis. I'm taking Kansas City to cover. The thing with the Chiefs is they've been able to score points. I know their defense is the bottom half of the league, but they lead the league with 14 giveaways, and they're not just going to continuing to turn the football over. So as long as Pat can protect the football, they will go in there and beat Tennessee, especially Tennessee coming off an emotional window Monday Night Football, and they will come in there and they will get this W.
That's exactly why I'm taking the Titans. I'm with Pete. Derrick Henry's going to run all over that crappy defense. I understand that before this year, Patrick Mahomes has been great with protecting the football and all that. I know he can do better, but I have not seen it at all this year. Give me Tennessee, man. They're going to win outright. They're not just going to cover. They're going to win.
Brian, real quick, Derrick Henry over under 200 yards.
Under 200 yards is ridiculous. Give me
I
200
think
yards.
I'm thinking
Under.
he's gonna be that whole offense. It's a big pick, but I think he might break 200.
That's why you got to be 21 to join up on DraftKings, Pete. Right there with takes like that.
Hey,
All right,
I didn't say it was a safe take. I said it was.
I got you. That's
All right, gentlemen, and finally, the game of the week. The Lions are in SoFi Stadium taking on our guy, our favorite player of all time, Matt Stafford, in his house. Rams are laying 14.5. Pete, we're going to start with you, my man.
Look, I think the most Lion thing to do would be to go in and pull off some miracle and win this game. But they're gonna lose big time. Let's just be honest here. It's no question. Give me the Rams. Give me the points. Not even gonna
Adrian.
worry about it.
Go ahead. Nothing needs to be said. Jared Goff, Little Fingers is playing like garbage all year. This team is mentally broken right now. They can't buy points. Give me the Rams by 20 plus easily. Matt Stafford's gonna have a field day on these boys.
Yeah, I hate this game. It's the team I watch the most. I'm sitting over here thinking, the Pete's logic, this is the kind of game that they actually stay in. He's exactly right about that. But you know what? I don't think Sean McVay or Matt Stafford is going to take it easy. I look over there at these Lions corners. I know Stafford was like, "Hey, Tracy Walker and Oruwariye are looking pretty good." Yeah, looking pretty good, chasing Cooper Kupp into the end zone. I'll have to lay the points here as well. I'm not hating or loving or hating the pick or any of it, but I'm picking against the Lions here. I don't think they're going to stay within 20.
I don't think they are either, and I think the fact that Matt Stafford's playing his old team in his new home, him and McVay are just going to be all gas and zero breaks, and I think they want to pound it to the Lions. And Stafford's my fantasy quarterback, so Rams are just going to demolish the Lions.
Okay, so we're all picking what about Rob, Mr. Lion? Let's all wait for his pick.
Yeah, Rob, you got to get in here, buddy.
There we go. I'm enjoying the drops, but they're going to lose. It's going to be a landslide loss.
Are they going to cover or not? Or are they just going to lose outright?
They are going to lose. They're not even going to cover. It's going to be terrible.
Rob, I'm so disappointed. I was totally expecting for you to pick the Lions. So.
The Lions are going to win in a landslide like nobody's ever seen before. No, I'm just kidding.
I have Robert Banker, Mr. Lion, picking the Rams. So, gentlemen, those are the picks.
End up winning.
All right, great job. Adrian, it was great to talk with you, keeping the score. You're doing a great job. We love having you on Thursdays, so we're hoping to have you on again.
All right, let's
Mr.
do it.
Thursday.
Appreciate y'all.
All right,
Let's
Pete,
do it.
great job. Rob, great job. For Brian Jelinek, I'm Dennis Fithian. Thanks for watching. We will join you Tuesday. Go enjoy all the games tonight, this weekend, and we'll talk about it all on Tuesday.